Okay, many of us use a GPS device to find our way around new places or new cities. But get this, in a number of states, the government can use a GPS to keep tabs on you without your knowledge, without a warrant, and it's perfectly legal. Our Brian Todd is looking into this for us, and Brian, this is amazing. I don't understand how this can happen. Tell me.
Don't, Suzanne.
A lot of people worried about this here.
They are. This comes from a very controversial court ruling in the western U.S., which gave law enforcement some very important new leeway to track suspects. But it's also added to a long-running debate on how far public security can go before it becomes Big Brother.
It's not much bigger than a soda can, and in some states, law enforcement can stick a GPS on your car while it's in your driveway and track almost every move you make. And they don't always need a warrant, according to a recent ruling by a federal court handling the western U.S. In 2007, drug enforcement agents in Oregon hid a GPS on the Jeep of Juan Pineda Moreno, suspected of growing marijuana. How watchful an eye could it keep on you?
Where's the best place for that?
On basically the frame of the car, or the truck as we're here with.
I tested a GPS tracker on our CNN vehicle with veteran private investigator Mike O'Connell. He's been using them for years, mostly to track spouses suspected of infidelity. His GPS may not even have the same capabilities as those used by law enforcement.
Now Mike's going to show me just how sophisticated this device is. He's going to track me from his office right up there as I get to the car and drive away.
I've got Mike on the phone here.
O'Connell follows me at every turn while I question him on speakerphone.
How far can you track me on this thing, Mike?
I can track you throughout the country with this device. Also, if you were to get on some sort of boat or yacht and went to an island, it would continue tracking you.
And for how long can you track someone on this device?
This device has a life battery for about 2 weeks until I have to recharge it.
When he was charged, Pineda Moreno objected to the GPS, saying it was an invasion of privacy, an unreasonable search. Mark Rotenberg of the Electronic Privacy Information Center agrees.
I think the law is actually pretty clear on that. If it's your driveway, it's your private property.
But in Pineda Moreno's case, the court said an individual does not necessarily have a reasonable expectation of privacy in their driveway. Former Justice Department official David Rivkin says placing a GPS on your car in your driveway is no different than tailing you with a helicopter or a chase car.
Any kind of surveillance that involves you being in public and the people who are following you being in public, of course, does not require any warrants.
But privacy advocate Mark Rotenberg says this ruling is at odds with cases in other regions, including Massachusetts, New York, and Washington, D.C., where courts did require officers to get warrants to stick GPS on cars. Rotenberg hopes this will get appealed to the Supreme Court, Suzanne.
So is there a difference between the rules for private investigators and, say, police officers?
Well, there could be. And again, it's a little bit sticky. This private investigator who we interviewed, Mike O'Connell, says he can place a GPS on a car that's considered marital property. That's any car that was bought while a couple was married. Remember, he deals mostly with married couples and suspected infidelities, right? So
another story.
Yeah, well, anyway, it doesn't matter whose name the car is in. He can place a GPS on that car if it's marital property. As for whether he can stick it on a car that's on private property, he says he can if it's in the couple's driveway. Again, often that's marital property. Now, if the car is on a private driveway that is not owned by one member of the couple or both, he says he can still stick it on a car there if there is a sign out in front saying, unless there's a sign out in front saying private property, keep off. That's what keeps him away from a car on private property.
I think a lot of people would be surprised to hear about this.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian.
Thank you.